Hello people, I'm Ewan and I like music. Before we get into this review, if you could subscribe, that would be appreciated a great deal. Now for the review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new album by British band The 1975, Notes on a Conditional Form. Right off the bat, I want to say there is a lot to unpack with this album, like a lot. There are 22 songs here, which is extortionate to say the least, and not only that, but this album shifts genres like every single track. It's ridiculous. Now, firstly, my background with this band is extremely positive. If you know me, you'll know I'm obsessed with this band. They're my top 3 favourite bands of all time. So the burning question I hear you asking is, does this album live up to their previous work? And in all honesty, I don't think it does. Although saying that, lots of these tracks are genuinely among some of the 1975's best. However, just as a body of work, it suffers from just the lack of focus. A simple reorder of this album, as well as maybe cutting away 1 or 2 songs, could have genuinely saved this album and made it their best. However, got to take it for what it is, and it simply just isn't as cohesive. It doesn't fit together as well as something like I Like It When You Sleep, which was their 2016 album. To be honest, I wasn't expecting something very cohesive, especially knowing the amount of studios this was recorded in, as well as the amount of delays due to stupid things like the album not being finished on time. But this really could have worked had they had a set track list that made sense. And if it was a tad bit shorter as well, that would have helped a lot. Although I don't understand the negative reaction, or like why so many people are up in arms about the length of this album. It clocks in at 80 minutes, which is only 5 minutes longer than I Like It When You Sleep, which is an album that a lot of the fans agree is their best. You could literally cut 1 song from this album and it would be the same length as that. Length isn't the issue here. If anything, I'm a fan of the long run time. It really gives you a chance to take this album in and understand where you are with the album. So now that we've got the negatives out the way, it's time to talk about some of the positives. And I think the glaringly obvious positive with this album are the singles. The singles from this album are amazing. The Night People released is a night I won't forget for a long time. Just the pure shock of that song on release was enough to just get me so hyped for this album that I was already just super hyped for. It's definitely a song that's going to be considered like a classic of theirs in a couple of years. A few months later, we got Frail State of Mind and Me and You Together Song. Me and You Together Song is possibly my favourite song ever by this band. And Frail State of Mind is so satisfying. It's like, it reminded me of Two Time, which was a decent song from their last album, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. That song was decent, although it had like no substance. It was just like sort of a poppy, sort of sing-along tune. Frail State of Mind is like that, but better because it brings a lot more substance to the actual words and brings a proper meaningful dialogue into that poppy instrumental. And it's sort of just like, if they were to put Frail State of Mind out instead of Two Time, it would have worked a lot better. Like, Frail State of Mind is almost just like an upgraded Two Time. And so for that, it's just so satisfying. The Birthday Party, one of my favourite songs by this band, again, and it's very well written. Like, I'm a sucker for good writing and wordy songs, so this song just, it gets me every single time. Jesus Christ 2005, God Bless America, is just pure beauty. I remember listening to that on release and just being like, this is just bliss. It really is just a beautiful, beautiful song. And lest we forget, If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know, and Guys, which were probably the 2 most anticipated songs ever made, and managed to be the most 1975-y, the 1975 song that the 1975 have ever released somehow. On an album that's so different to anything they've ever done before, these 2 songs just happen to be their most, like, safe 1975 songs, and it's so strange. I think one thing to note with this album is that the production is a strong point. Like, I'm convinced that George Daniel, who is the drummer, producer of this band, I'm convinced he's a genius. Like, there isn't a song on here that's poorly produced. I'd be interested to hear a solo album by him to see how it'd sound. Now, apart from the singles, tracks like Roadkill, Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied, Playing on My Mind, Having No Head, and I Think There's Something You Should Know all stand out as highlights. Regardless of anyone's opinion, Shiny Collarbone is so daft and strange that it genuinely is an amazing song, and it just becomes a standout. One thing I notice talking about like what's good on this album is that we have like a normal length album worth of amazing songs, and what I mean by that is there are 12 perfect songs on this album and a couple more like close near perfect songs. Most albums only have 12 songs anyway, like give or take, which just shows that there is a 10 out of 10 album in here, but only if you cut around a third of this whole album. If you were going to cut some, ones that I'd suggest would be Don't Worry, which is the only song this band have ever released that I genuinely have an active hatred for, rather than just me being able to say, no, I don't care for this one. No, Don't Worry, I actively just hate it, because like I understand the sentiment, but it's so oddly placed, and Matty Healy, God bless him, slightly ruins this one. It would have been much more powerful to just have Tim Healy and a piano, rather than whatever this auto-tuned mess that we did get is. Some more songs that I don't feel are right here are, what should I say, the intro track of the 1975 and Streaming, which really should have just been an extended intro for the birthday party, because it's just a track that you'd say is filler. It doesn't need to be an extra track. This didn't need to be 22 tracks. It could have been 21 had that have just been an extended intro. And that blow of people saying it's too long would have maybe been softened a bit. So if anything, they've put themselves in the firing line. The main bulk of Tonight I Wish I Was Your Boy is pretty cool, and it reminds me of Sincerity is Scary. However, the intro is something that I cannot stand. It sounds like it was designed for TikTok, and I'm not keen on that. Although, follow my TikTok, it's at Ewan Robertson 69. I mean, really, all comes back to the point of this band are a talented band and making amazing songs, as you can see with some of the tunes on this album. However, when you aren't focused and don't have a real direction, it shows. It shows. Like, on this album, you can tell that there's no direction here. You could tell, before this album was even out, that there was no direction. You could tell leading up to this album, you could tell that it wasn't going to be cohesive. I think it was expected. I'm gonna rate this album a 7 out of 10. It deserves credit, but as an album, it's just not their best work, and I imagine it can get old fairly quickly. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the review, don't forget to leave a like. Remember, this is all just my opinion, so don't be mean in the comments. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. They're both up on the screen. If there's any other albums that you should think I should listen to, whether that be a review or a reaction, let me know in the comments.